Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the NBA, the NBA Eastern Conference Finals last night between the Pacers and the New York Knicks, and tonight's Game Two versus the the Timberwolves versus the OKC Thunder. Now, last night, one thing that I noticed was the pace and the play for the for the Knicks was pretty much playing right into the Knicks' hands. They were, and as you can see, when it comes to the Indiana Pacers, you can see where I'm talking about. So Pacers, they are pretty much they have a balanced starting five. You can see right here where Pascal Siakam had 17 points. Aaron Naismith had a career high 30 points. Miles Turner 14 points. Andrew Nabar 15 points. Tyrese Halliburton Halley had 31 points. Bench production, Obi Toppin, 8 points. Thomas Bryant, 4 points. TJ McConnell. Now, TJ McConnell, he had some valuable minutes. His 14 minutes was very valuable, and he had 10 points. Now, this is the thing that I was talking about before this series started. The New York Knicks, they don't have multiple guys that can come off the bench and put up 10 to 15 points when you need it. That's one thing. Now, the other thing, as far as defense concerned, now defense, we can already see where the Knicks they are gonna have trouble in this series. They are because you look at this and Benedict Mathurin, 9 points, Ben Shepherd, 0 points. Now the Pacers, they are a different kind of team. They play with a different style of intensity when it comes to the offense. Now, defensively, they are pretty much at the bottom of the NBA in total defense. One thing I can say is that if the Pacers, they could have put James Johnson in the fold last night. Jarris Walker, Johnny Furphy, Tony Bradley. They could have put any of those guys that come off the bench in the game last night, and they would have put up some points. Now, the one thing about the Pacers that I like is they've been playing with this kind of intensity all season. It's just that the Pacers they haven't had many televised games, so not too many people know how the Pacers play unless they have been watching the NBA and watching the Indiana Pacers closely throughout the entirety of this season. Now, I'm going before I get into the debacle that we all saw last night. Tyrese Halliburton, everybody who said that he was an overrated player in the NBA, he is showing you why he belongs to be in that conversation as one of the top scorers in the NBA because we all can see it. I mean, this is the fifth time. This is the fifth time in the postseason. Excuse me. This is the sixth time in the postseason where he has put up at least 30 points. And I do mean he is not going to get much better than that. I can expect Tyrese Halliburton to put up another signature game in game two. But if you are the New York Knicks, and I'm gonna get to the New York Knicks in a little bit, New York Knicks, you know that you are gonna have to find some way to slow the tempo of this series down because the Pacers they already have the momentum, they have the pace, they have the style of play. And another thing, the New York Knicks only have at most is a three three bench man rotation, 3-man bench rotation. That's all. And the starting five sometimes is hit and miss outside of outside of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. So now let me shift on over to the New York Knicks. New York Knicks last night. They had a good game. Jalen Brunson had 43 points. Karl Anthony Towns had 35 points. Mikal Bridges had 16 points. OG Anunoby had 6 points. Josh Hart had 8 points. Bench production. Mitchell Robinson had 2 points. Cameron Payne had 6 points. Miles McBride had 9 points. Dion Wright had 0 points. One thing that I can say is the New York Knicks, they should have won this game. They was up by 17 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. Then the one thing, this is where I led with when I did my short video last night. They shouldn't have lost this game because you're up by 12 points. 12 points and under 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. See, that's why I say now last night's loss with the Knicks, that really got to me last night. It really did, because the Knicks, they had a 97% chance of winning this game last night when they went up by 17 with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Then when they went up by 12 with under 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it was 99%. And then all of a sudden, the Pacers, they started playing the make a shot foul game. Like what I mean by that is the Pacers, they made 3-4 shots in the span of 50 seconds, and they pretty much, it was a foul line game. They made it into a foul game, and Karl Anthony Towns, he missed, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson both missed free throws down the stretch. Now, one thing I can say is that the New York Knicks, they had 40 free throw attempts last night. The Pacers only had 28. You had 40 free throw attempts last night and you still lose? I mean, you still lose. That don't make no sense. So to be exact, yes, the Knicks were 28 of 40 from the free throw line, and that's 70%. Now, free throws for the Indiana Pacers, they were 75%, 21 or 28. Total rebounds, Knicks, they out-rebounded the Pacers by 7. Offensive rebounds, +2 for the Knicks. Defensive rebounds, +5 for the New York Knicks. Assists, +2 for Indiana. Steals, +1 for the Knicks. Blocks, +5 for the Knicks. Total turnovers, the Pacers only had 7 turnovers, and the Knicks, they had 15. Now, when the Knicks were up, when they had that lead of 17 points, I was saying to everybody that was watching, because I was watching last night, I was saying the Knicks, they need to protect this lead because the game isn't over. Indiana has been down like this a lot of times throughout the season, where they've been down by double digits and under 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, came back and won the game or sung the game into overtime. So the turnovers, they cost the New York Knicks last night. Also, points off of turnovers, the Knicks, they had 27. The Pacers had 4. Fast break points, it really wasn't much fast break points in the fast break department. 13-5, the Indiana Pacers. Points in the paint, 62-50. Fouls, pretty much the same amount of fouls. The largest lead was 7 for the Pacers, and the largest lead for the Knicks was 17. Now, let's shift on over. Let's look ahead to game 2. Game 2, the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks need to win game 2. If they don't win game 2, we might as well just bring out the brooms after game 2, because the Knicks, I've been saying this throughout the season. The only problem that I have with the Knicks is bench production. Outside of bench production, they don't have much. They don't have much outside of their bench production. Now, I don't know what else Jalen Brunson needs to do or Karl Anthony Towns needs to do, but when you have when you have your top two players scoring almost 90 points together and you still lose, that is not going to look well. And it doesn't. Now, one thing I can say, this is an astronomical loss for the New York Knicks. New York Knicks fans, I know how y'all feeling this morning. Everybody who is a New York Knicks fan, I think I need to do a wellness check on y'all because I understand your pain. Because last night, the Knicks, they had this game in the bag and they ended up losing it. And another thing, I'm going to shift on over not halftime, but overtime. In overtime, the Knicks, they didn't have much left in the tank. One thing about the Knicks is the games that they have played in overtime this season, most of the overtime games they've lost throughout this season. So if the Knicks don't win the game, if the Knicks do not win games in regulation, then they are going to lose in overtime. And one thing that I can say for the Indiana Pacers is Indiana Pacers, they have all the advantages in this series. They have all the advantage. The only advantage that the New York Knicks have is defense. And as far as interior defense, it wasn't on display last night. And I don't think it's going to be a tough time for the Knicks to neutralize, and I do mean neutralize, the Indiana Pacers, because when you got the Pacers shooting 51% from the floor, 40% from three, 75% from the free throw line, and they are also not turning the ball over, they have single-digit turnovers, Indiana Pacers, they might win this series. And let me tell you, Indiana Pacers, even though they are a good story, I keep on saying that the New York Knicks are the better story to be in the NBA Finals. They got to go out there and do it. They do. And another thing, the X factors for the New York Knicks. X factors for the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby, 42. He played 42 minutes, only had 16 points. I believe OG Anunoby, he needed to have 20 to 25 points. Also, Mikal Bridges, also him, 20 to 25 points. Because what you need for the New York Knicks, you need those four guys in the start lineup to at least crack 25 points for the rest of the series. I mean, every game. OG Anunoby, he needs to have 20 plus points. Mikal Bridges need to have 20 plus points. Karl Anthony Towns, he need to have 20 plus points. Jalen Brunson, I already know what I'm going to get from Jalen Brunson, so I'm not worried about him. And Josh Hart is another X factor because he's strictly out there on defense. But if he is a good player on the offensive side and he gets one of those games where he's efficient enough to have maybe make 4 or 5 threes in a game, that could be a big help to the New York Knicks. But outside of that, New York Knicks this morning, you pretty much, you blew game 1. Don't blow game 2. Don't blow game 2 because being down 2-0 in an Eastern Conference Finals series, the team that goes up 2-0 in an Eastern Conference Finals series wins the series 86% of the time. And another thing, the New York Knicks, they made history. They were on the wrong side of history last night. They were. in the past, and since the NBA has started, there have been 972 teams that take a 15 plus point lead in the fourth quarter in a playoff game, and all of those teams was 972 and 0, and that was before last night. Now it's 972 and 1. And the one was the one game that you saw last night, the New York Knicks. New York Knicks, I don't know what else to say. I mean, what else can you take away from this game? Because Karl Anthony Towns did what he was supposed to do. Jalen Brunson did what he was supposed to do. But another thing, the reason why the New York Knicks lost last night, free throws, 20 or 40. You missed 12 free throws and you lost by 3. Now, the Knicks, they was dominating in all of the statistical categories, but the one statistic, the most important statistic that pretty much exceeds all other statistics is the final score. And they lost the game with the final score being 138 to 135. Now, Indiana Pacers, let's see what they can do in game 2. Let's see if they can carry this momentum. And let's see if the New York Knicks can bounce back, because we need the New York Knicks to bounce back. Like I was saying last night, we need the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. That's the better story. We need Mikal Bridges to up his game. We need OG Anunoby. We need all of the New York Knicks players. We need the New York Knicks bench production to up their game. Now, even though Tom Thibodeau, this is going to be his downfall, because he does not like to emphasize the bench at all. And let me tell you, 21 minutes for Mitchell Robinson, and he only scores 2 points, no value. Cameron Payne, he had 6 points. He had some value in the game last night, but not much to have determine the outcome of the game. Miles McBride, 9 points. If he had 15 to 20, they would have won last night. Now, that's all I have to say for the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 1 versus the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. The next game I'm going to talk about is tonight's Western Conference Finals, Game 2 versus the Minnesota Timberwolves and the OKC Thunder. You know what? I'm not going to bore y'all to death with the lineups for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Thunder. I'm going to just go ahead and just give y'all the odds on this game. And I'm going to tell you all who needs to have a big game for the Timberwolves. Now, Timberwolves, OKC is a 7.5 point favorite again tonight in this game. The matchup predictor, according to ESPN, states that, hey, 71% OKC, 28% Minnesota. But those X factors that I have been saying for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dante DiVincenzo, and those 3 X factors for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they have to step up tonight. They do. And also, I don't expect for Anthony Edwards to go scoreless in the fourth quarter tonight. I just don't. Now, one thing I can say is that if OKC, if they turn up the intensity like they did after halftime in game 1, then the OKC Thunder will go up 2 games. But I'm expecting a much closer game than we all saw in game 1, because Minnesota Timberwolves, like Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, he's been saying that he wanted to get back to this stage. Now, Anthony Edwards, I have all the confidence in the world that he is going to come out and deliver the goods and make this a series tonight. I do think so. But one thing, the advantages that the OKC Thunder have over the Minnesota Timberwolves were on display in game one. Now, like I said before game one, this series should be close. The only way that this series is not close is if the Minnesota Timberwolves turn the ball over, and they turned the ball over a lot, plenty in game one. They had 19 turnovers in game one. The Timberwolves, they cannot have 19 turnovers tonight and expect to win this game. Oklahoma, what they have to do is they have to do what they did in game one. And let me tell you all this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA MVP, he did not have a good game in game one, and yet the OKC Thunder still won by 20 plus points. Hey, if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves right now, it got me thinking. That has me thinking, because we knew the Timberwolves, they neutralized SGA for almost three and a half quarters. And the OKC Thunder, they still blow out the Minnesota Timberwolves. If I'm Minnesota, what else can I do on defense as far as the interior? There's nothing else I can do. And one thing I can say, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they don't have a good matchup for SGA. I'm going to just go ahead and say it, because you're throwing 4-5 guys on SGA, and he is scoring with efficiency. Now, tonight, I expect him to have his regular efficient scoring game. And I also expect Luguentz Dort to have a good game. Isaiah Hartenstein, he was the leading scorer at halftime in game one. I'm expecting him to have a good game. And I'm expecting OKC to turn up the defensive intensity like they did in game one. And I expect for OKC to hold serve at home. Now, let's see if OKC can go on the road and win one of the two games that's in Minnesota. If they can do that, then the series is pretty much over. But if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves, the pressure is on the Minnesota Timberwolves to win game two. If they don't win game two, then they are in a hole, and they only have a 14% chance at winning, because teams that go up 2-0 in a conference finals in NBA history goes on to win the series 86% of the time. So Anthony Edwards got to have a better game. Jaden McDaniels, X factor. Naz Reid, he's an X factor. Dante DiVincenzo is an X factor. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is an X factor for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And all of those guys, they have to step up, because we expect a competitive series. We don't expect an onslaught or a blowout. And Eastern Conference, they gave us that last night. Now, what can the Western Conference give us? If the Western Conference can't give us a suitable, competent, if they can't give us a suitable and a competitive series, then we might as well just throw in the towel after tonight for the OKC Thunder, because they pretty much tonight, if they win tonight, they pretty much on their way to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2012. That's what it is. So Minnesota gotta handle business. Me, y'all already know who I'm rolling with. I said OKC in 7 games, but if the OKC Thunder win tonight's game, it will not go 7 games. The OKC Thunder might beat the Timberwolves in 5 or 6 games if they win tonight. So Minnesota back against the wall. Let's see what Minnesota can do. Can they bounce back? And let's see if OKC can keep this momentum going. So with that, those are my reactions to last night's Eastern Conference Finals matchup between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, and my prediction for tonight's Western Conference Finals Game 2 between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. We are also doing an expansion right here on YouTube. Please hit that comment section, hit the like and share button, because we have NBA playoff coverage, conference finals coverage right now. Then in 2 weeks, the NBA finals will start. We will have NBA finals coverage. After that, it will be NFL OTAs coverage and training camp coverage for the NFL. So you do not want to miss what we have in store on Keytown Sports. And also, please go on over to my other show, Key City Sports, and also hit the like, share, and subscribe button on there, because we are also doing an expansion right there on Instagram. And in a few minutes, I will be on Instagram. So what you need to do right now is exit this out, go on over to my Instagram, Key City Sports, and tune in to my show there. Remember, everybody, one last thing. Remember, the key is always on time.